Welcome back to a new series. I mean, I saw the recent response to the F1 Sidemen video. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. And I thought, why not? Let's start a new series on this channel where we try and rewrite history and make Charles Leclerc the 2022 F1 World Champion. We are going to go from the place that arguably ended any potential title hope, which is in France. I mean, granted, there are many bottle job moments from Ferrari and Charles Leclerc, I guess. But this one is the one that will stick in the minds of many when we talk about those two bottling it. Now, for this series, we're obviously no rookies, so no assists. We're putting on strict corner cut, and we're making it as difficult as possible to win this championship. Because remember, we are in a Ferrari car. Ferrari make it as difficult as they can for their drivers to win the World Championship. So we're going to go, well, maybe not the AI difficulty. We'll go easy on that. We'll go 95. I'm not much better than that. I'm not much worse. That's around where I am. So we'll go 95 for the AI difficulty. But everything else, no assist, no nothing, long races, full quali. We're going to go out in this Ferrari to try and win this World Championship against Max Verstappen. To win a World Championship, it helps to be a World Champion. So we're going to be Jarno Otmir in the Ferrari.
Mr. Monaco.
Yep, that works. This pose is perfect because we're going to be silencing all the haters.
High checker flag. By checker flag.
That's a good radio for Leclerc. It's a bit like his 2022 season. High 2022 championship, by 2022 championship. Alright, we're P3 in the chart, but it's very, very close. We're right there with Mercedes and Red Bull. Well, so I did a couple upgrades on the chassis. They'll come in before the French Grand Prix. And why do I even bother, man? Why do I even bother? Let's just get into qualifying. Hold on a second. Those points aren't right. Max had like 200 points and we had like 170 or something. Something's gone wrong here. Let's have a look. Oh, they didn't count the Imola and... Oh, so the two places that were sprint races, they didn't count. This is a great game. A great game. We're in blimmin' December. It came out in June. So for this series, I'm going to be a bit silly at times, make some jokes, but also be a bit more serious with the commentary when it comes to qualifying and the race, because I do want that aspect in there. We are trying to win a Formula 1 2022 World Championship, and we're in Q3. We made it through the first couple sessions pretty easily, and you can see there, Perez comes out of the pits and basically says, no, I'm bringing back my Abu Dhabi 2021 shit, and blocks me in qualifying. So I'm like, screw you, I now have to do the lap of my life on the final lap. I can't take too many risks, because if I take too many risks and I go a little bit wide, that's my lap invalidated, because we are on the strict settings. I was about a 10th up on Alonso, but going through this final sector, I go a bit wide through that previous turn, and also on that last turn, almost run wide off the exit. So I have to be a little careful, make sure I get a time on the board to see where I'm actually going to come across the line. It's a 930, and it is only P7. P7. I was 3/1000s off of my teammates, so there we go. We're about the right AA level. But the frustrating part was I did miss about a 10th or two, just from making a couple of mistakes towards the end of that lap.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race.
Nah, don't worry, mate. I got it. So, on pole position, we have George Russell and Mercedes on pole, for God's sake. And we got that scum, Sergio Perez, for blocking me on my first lap in P2. He should have got a 5-place grid penalty for that. That's ridiculous. Lando Norris, I don't know why the hell he's up there in P3, but he is. Our teammate in P5, Verstappen, our rival, in P4, Alonso P6. We're in P7 with Hamilton P8. How is Russell P1 and Hamilton P8? You've had a stinker, mate. Ocon in P9, Ricciardo 10, Magnussen 11th, 12th for Albon. We don't really care about the rest. Starting the Grand Prix on the hard tyres. Sainz, Verstappen and Perez are also on the hards. Everybody else on the mediums. So this might be a difficult first lap or two. And probably the first 10 laps, actually, until we get up to speed. But it will come back to us later on in the Grand Prix. We are away. Russell gets a good start. We don't get a very good start behind our teammate Carlos Sainz. I think Hamilton is already making a move around the outside. And we've got the Alpine of Ocon trying to send one down the inside. We've already lost out to both Alpines. But the Red Sea It's basically an Alpine Red Sea. It parts open and through we go. Down the middle, up into P6. Okay, that's not a bad start. We're in P6. We've gained a position, and we can kind of get going from here. But our tyres are still not up to temperature. We had that formation lap, but we didn't get them up to temperature well enough. We tried our best, but we couldn't. So I'm sure these Alpines are going to be all over the back of us on those medium tyres. They're well warmed up, and you can see Ocon, he's basically pushing us through the corners. We've got very, very defensive. Ocon and Alonso are going to look to have a go at us down into the chicane. We're going side by side with Esteban Ocon. Ocon goes around the outside. He's made contact with us. We've spun. We've had a howler. We're down. We're dropping down the order. We're down into P16, 17, 18. We're down into P17. Oh my goodness me. We're trying to redeem Leclerc's legacy, and half a lap in, we've had a howler. Up in a P16 now. No damage to our car, thankfully, because I think it was wheel-to-wheel contact. But we're going to have a look at what happened here. So Ocon around the outside. We're trying to hold on to the inside. We're trying to hold on to this position for our dear life. And he's taking the apex. You can't do that. You've got to leave room. That's outrageous. Esteban Ocon, you're a scum, mate. You are a scum. Esteban Ocon takes me out, doing the dirty work, and now we've dropped down to P16, and we're going to have to make several overtakes to get back up on through. And look at that overtake. Around the outside, to the inside. See you later, Valtteri. We'll keep moving on. And these overtakes are going to be a little bit more difficult, just because we're on the hard tyres, these other cars on the medium, so we have to try and pick and choose our moments, and there's a huge DRS train. So getting it down the DRS straights is going to be difficult. We have to keep doing it around that final corner, where we can just get close enough, get that traction around the outside, and find a way through. As we're on lap 6, things have kind of settled down, and you can see the gap that's worrying me is that gap between Daniel Ricciardo and Kevin Magnussen. It's a 4-second gap. Yes, we're going to be on the mediums towards the end of the Grand Prix, and we can kind of catch up. But a 4-second gap already, 6 laps in, is a worrying sign. I think beating Verstappen in this race is out of the question. So this is more of a damage limitation when it comes to the championship as we make that move down the inside of Sebastian Vettel. That's how you go into a chicane, Esteban Ocon. Take notes. The 4-time world champion won't take me out. So up into P12 we go. Points is definitely on the cards. I'd say maybe P5, P6. It depends. It depends how good we are. But it feels like this car is just not very fast in a straight line, as we have a slow moving AlphaTauri. I think he is retiring. So Yuki Tsunoda, the first one in this series to have to retire in a race, down in P17. He does DNF, but there's no safety car. The time we need a safety car desperately, no safety car comes out. So P12 still for us. We're behind Magnussen and Gasly. If we can get past both of these, then maybe we could start that charge up towards Daniel Ricciardo and try and finish in the top 8, top 7. It's basically get as many points as we can to prevent the damage that Esteban Ocon has occurred. Who knows? There's 20 laps still to go. A safety car comes out in 10 laps time. We're dancing for joy because we'll be on the mediums, everybody else on the hards. Well, everybody but Verstappen, Perez and Sainz. So it's not been the best of starts, but we can still get this back. And look at this. This is my favourite angle to watch. The wing angle for the replays. And I think we're going to go for another move. Look at it. We love this move. Around the outside to the inside. It's the best place to get it done because our ERS is awful. Our straight line speed isn't the best. So trying to get it done down the straight is very, very difficult. We have to be right on their tail. So doing it around the outside at that corner, it is what we want to do, as we're now looking at Carlos Sainz. He's in this train split between the Alpines. If you want to take out Ocon, that would be great. No, he's coming to the pits. He's coming to the pits on the hard tyres. He can't take the mediums to the end of this Grand Prix, so he must have damage. Sainz into the pits, P5. He has to have damage on the front wing somewhere, surely. No, they're not changing the front wing. This is a strategy call from Ferrari. You could not write this. You could not write this. It's a strategy call to go from the hards after 8 laps onto the mediums. And he's going to have to pit again. There's no way he takes those mediums 20 laps to the end of the Grand Prix. He's had a stinker. Ferrari's had a stinker. This is tragic. Oh, and there you go. There's a bit of a moment from me. So as we were talking about Carlos Sainz and his strategy have a stinker, I have a bit of stinker. That's the first mistake I've made, and I get a warning for exceeding track limits when I make... I don't know how. I've lost about a second or two from this. So yeah, we just lose the rear and it kind of slides. And we take the more scenic route, but we get back on the track. That's our first warning of the race. We get 3 of those, we get a 3-second penalty. So that's the last thing we need. But P3, it's looking great. We're on the podium. But everybody else has pit, except for me and Verstappen and Perez, I believe. But we are going to pit this lap on P50, on lap 15, sorry, in P3. As long as we come out ahead of Kevin Magnussen, we can make that charge to Daniel Ricciardo. We just got to make sure we come out ahead of the Haas driver. Verstappen, I think he came into the pits as well. Yes, he did. He's miles ahead of us. He's not even in our race. They're almost a pit stop ahead as we're trundling out the pits. Carlos Sainz P5. He can't get ahead of Verstappen. And there's such a big gap to Alonso. Maybe if he dropped back a bit, he could maybe do like a Perez Abu Dhabi, slow everybody down, and maybe I could catch that train of cars. But coming out the pits is very important. We stay ahead of Magnussen. You see Magnussen in the background. See you later, son. We're in P10. It's a guaranteed points finish if we don't make mistakes. But 1 point, 2 points, 4 points, even 6 points probably isn't enough for this Grand Prix. We need to try and get at least 10 points, especially if Verstappen's going to be fighting for the win. We need to get as many points as possible. And yeah, here you go. Lap 17, Carlos Sainz comes into the pits to put on another set of mediums. He has gone for the 2-stop strategy. The only driver on the grid to go for a 2-stop strategy. He was up in like the top 6, top 7. And now he's coming out P10 behind me. Might even be P11. Magnussen might even jump in. Does he jump in outside the pits? Is Haas going to come roaring past the Ferrari? Oh my God, yes it is. Carlos Sainz, P11, Ferrari. What are you doing? So that's tragic for Carlos Sainz. He's got past in P10, but we're ahead in P9. And now we're watching Verstappen. This is painful. We want to be fighting Max Verstappen. I don't think our car's fast enough to be fighting around this track at least. And yeah, if he didn't win this race, it would be helpful, but you got Russell and Norris both on the hard tyres, and he's on the mediums. Verstappen's running away with this. This is an easy victory for Verstappen. It's going to be 25 points, and we're just trying to get the damage limitation as we're closing in on Ocon and Ricciardo up ahead. Time to get revenge on Esteban Ocon, basically ruining our race, ruining any chance of us getting a podium and slowing down the 2 Red Bulls. So P9 and P10 for both Ferrari drivers. I did not expect to be saying that at the start of this Grand Prix. This hurts. This hurts big time. But the pushing that we've done over the previous laps, we've got 5 laps, 4 or 5 laps to get the moves done on Ricciardo and Ocon. There is Hamilton and Alonso further up the road, but I think getting past these 2 cars and then catching Hamilton and Alonso might be a little bit too much, but the main focus is get at least P7. We get P7, that's damage limitation, and we can work in Hungary next week with it as we go for a move on Ocon, and he's trying to take us out again. That is absolutely outrageous. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, you're a scum, mate. Look at this. We go for a move around the outside. He's locked up. He's trying to take me out. I'm not having that. I'm not having that. He's tried to take me out. Not Ocon. Take the O out of his name. It's a con artist. He ain't no F1 driver. He can't even drive the blimmin' car. Get him out of Formula 1. He's tried to take me out twice in this first race. Someone's put a bounty on my head, and he's trying to cash it in. Alpine, you're not paying him enough. Up your budget. Pay him so he's not going to try and take that bounty as we go for a move on Ricciardo. That's how you go side by side with another car, Esteban. Blimey, I can't believe it. Twice in one race. We've had no other incidents with any other driver. Only Esteban Ocon trying to take me out. You little shit. You better stay down in P9. Sainz trying to close on him, but he's not going to get him in time. Instead, we have to worry about Daniel Ricciardo coming back at us with blimmin' ERS because the AI save ERS for the final lap, and they just go ham. And I'll tell you what, he is pushing us. There's about 3-4 tenths to Ricciardo. He used that DRS down the straight. He is closing in. He's got ERS plenty, and he is closing. Look at this. He might even have a go at us on his final lap. Our red light's flashing. His is not. He's got so much ERS to use. Is he going to go for a move? No, he's not. Max Verstappen, he's going to take one of the easiest wins of his career. I say easiest wins of his career. You should have seen the amount of wins he had in real life. Every win seemed to be easy. But it's P1 for Max Verstappen. Extends that gap at the top. And our damage limitation race is going to come home in P7 as long as we can hold on to Ricciardo. No mistakes for the last couple of corners, please. As around the final corner we go. We keep it in track limits so we don't get a penalty. It's going to be P7 for Charles Leclerc. We did better than Charles Leclerc in real life. He didn't even finish the race in real life, but we finished here in P7. Frustrating part is Verstappen P1, Perez P3. I don't know what Norris is doing up there. I don't know where McLaren have found this pace, actually. So Norris in P2, that is unbelievable stuff. But yeah, so it's a bit of a stinker of a weekend. But next time out in Hungary, I think we have a better chance. I think our car is more suited to that track because our straight line speed is pretty shambolic. Sainz down in P10. I mean, that strategy blunder is outrageous. I don't know what they're doing. We were around the same pace as Carlos Sainz, so the AI difficulty is good. It's just we need to find a little bit extra speed to fight with Verstappen. 56 points now behind in the drivers' standings, and the constructors' standings, 89 points. We got to close that down. We need to get a couple of wins. If you are excited for this series, make sure you go ahead, leave a like on this video, tell me if you're looking forward to it, and I'll try and get these videos out as soon as possible. Make sure you subscribe as well, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.